The Maelstrom Hunter by Crimson QB Sage, Chapter 12, The Tale of a Gutsy Ninja. Amigakure. Conan, Jiraiya said, a small smirk appearing on his face. You've honored your jutsu, you've honed your jutsu magnificently, but even more, you've become quite a catch. Conan showed no reaction to the words of her old sensei. I thought you had died. Instead, you turned into a flimsy sheet of paper. Jiraiya's face turned serious. Who is Pain? It's none of your business, Sensei, Conan replied, her body levitating upwards as paper gathered around her and took the form of a pair of wings. And that makes you an angel? Jiraiya asked. Does putting on an act like that have its benefits? I have received orders from our god. I will kill you, Conan said. Using her paper wings, Conan shot out paper at her former sensei, which was met halfway with a large stream of fire Jiraiya shot out. Conan's paper barrage suddenly overpowered Jiraiya's fireball, and the self-proclaimed super pervert strafed right and shot out oil. Gamayudan, Jiraiya called out as a stream of oil shot from his mouth at Conan, effectively covering her in toad oil. Forming the snake hand sign, Jiraiya's hair extended to Conan and wrapped around her body. Can't spread your wings with all that oil, can you? Jiraiya stated. I used to love origami, and you were the kindest among the 3 kids. What became of the other 2? Nagato and Yahiko? He asked, reminiscing on his other 2 former students. I heard they had died. Were they just rumors too? The question caused Conan to slightly narrow her eyes. I see. So this Pain is one of them, eh? Jiraiya concluded. What's your purpose? Appearing before us after all these years? Conan asked. That wasn't my intention. If you all hadn't been part of the Katsuki, Jiraiya stated. I heard that you had died. I never expected this. I bet now you're thinking you should have done what that Orochimaru suggested back then, Conan said, causing Jiraiya to reminisce back to when he first met the trio. You saved us instead, but it's too late now. We've embraced his ideology and made our move. I don't regret letting you live at all, Jiraiya said, but I'm so disappointed. I taught you ninjutsu to enable you to live through those harsh times. You were all, without a doubt, my students. The world may still be a cruel place, but to attack me without a greeting, this is so sad, he stated. For a few years after that time, I heard your names mentioned. You had made a reputation for yourselves in a few confrontations, but I heard later that you had died. You know nothing about what happened to us afterwards, Conan said quietly. No, I don't. But why the Katsuki? Jiraiya asked. What the Katsuki is doing is wrong. This is the decision I've made, Jiraiya-sensei, another more masculine voice said. Looking up, Jiraiya saw a man with orange hair held in a high ponytail, multiple black piercings, and a pair of Rinnegan eyes. You look very different, but those eyes, Jiraiya stated. So you were Pain, Nagato. It seems you strayed off the path of good. What happened? You don't need to know. After all, you are an outsider. Chikushodo, Pain said. You've changed, Nagato, Jiraiya said. Chikushodo, Pain formed one hand sign. Kuchiyose no Jutsu, he said, summoning forth a giant shellfish with black rod piercings. Said giant shellfish shot out a torrent of foam at Jiraiya, causing him to release Conan to dodge the attack. Whoa! Jiraiya exclaimed, narrowly dodging the blast, using chakra to stick to the wall. Foam? Leave it to my student to know my weakness, Jiraiya thought. He intends to wash away the oil. Conan levitated out of the foam, her body now complete with a few outlines of paper and cleansed of toad oil. Conan, stay back, Chikushodo Pain said, dispelling his summon only for that same summoning beast to be summoned beneath Jiraiya. The giant shellfish leapt out of the foam at Jiraiya. Conan, stay back, Chikushodo Pain said, dispelling his summon only for that same summoning beast to be resummoned behind Jiraiya. The giant shellfish leapt out of the foam at Jiraiya. Ranji Shigami no Jutsu, Jiraiya yelled out after forming the snake hand sign, his hair expanding and entrapping the giant shellfish. Pushing the shellfish back, the summoning beast dispelled itself. A large mane of white hair with a mouth shot out of the smoke at the Chikushodo Pain, ensnaring the Rinnegan wielding walking corpse. Nagato, I want to ask you a few things, Jiraiya said. What happened to Yahiko? Oh yeah, there was such a guy, wasn't there? Chikushodo Pain said, causing Jiraiya's eyes to narrow. He died a long time ago. Nagato, you. What happened to you? The old you wouldn't, Jiraiya said. Nothing, just war, Chikushodo Pain said. Too many people die here. That pain made me grow up. What do you mean? Jiraiya asked. Even a stupid, foolish kid will grow up when he learns what pain is. Chikushodo Pain said. Knowing pain controls one's words and thoughts. But abandoning one's love for a friend, is that what it means to become an adult? Jiraiya questioned. Sensei, you are still just a man. However, through this never-ending pain, I have matured and become even more than a man, Chikushodo Pain said. What? Jiraiya questioned. Yes, from a man to a god, Chikushodo Pain said. When one becomes a god, your words and thoughts become absolute. Sensei, since you are human, it can't be helped if you don't understand what I'm saying. Have you become that twisted? Jiraiya asked. Things I couldn't see when I was human are clear to me now that I am God, Chikushodo Pain said. And being a god, I realized that there are things I can do which man cannot. To put it simply, evolving beyond man. Just what are you planning to do? Jiraiya questioned. I am going to put an end to this senseless, war-torn world. That is a god's work, Chikushodo Pain said. If this is your purpose, why are you gathering Biju? Jiraiya asked. You are going to die anyway, so I shall tell you the true purpose, Chikushodo Pain said. I will use the sealed Biju to develop a new kinjutsu with just one jutsu. A large nation can be destroyed instantaneously. It will be the most powerful, the ultimate kinjutsu weapon. How will making such a thing end the fighting? Jiraiya questioned, pointing accusingly at Chikushodo Pain. Won't it simply intensify the conflict? There are disputes throughout the nations. How would you put a quick end to them all, Jiraiya-sensei? Chikushodo Pain countered. That is my question to you. Answer me, Jiraiya yelled. You give each warring nation a kinjutsu weapon. Once they possess such a power, they are bound to use it. Chikushodo Pain replied. What do you mean? Jiraiya asked. Tens of millions will die instantly and people will become scared, Chikushodo Pain said. People and nations will learn what pain is. That fear will breed a strong aversion to war and the fighting will end. It can be said that this world is still in the process of growing and stabilizing. Pain will make the world mature in the same way that I matured. In order for the world to grow up and become wiser, a god's hand is necessary. The world is still a child. Teach the world pain in order to make it grow. Do you believe that is your work? Jiraiya questioned. Yes, because I am the god of peace, Chikushodo Pain proclaimed. You've gotten good at telling jokes, Nagato, Jiraiya said, a smirk present on his face. Joke? I'm not joking, Chikushodo Pain said. My ideal is... Before he could finish, a puff of smoke appeared where Chikushodo Pain was. When the smoke cleared, a log was in place of Chikushodo Pain. Over here, Sensei, Chikushodo Pain called out, looking at the source of the voice. Jiraiya noticed Chikushodo Pain's location. Is that your next summoning? Jiraiya questioned, his hair receding back into its original length. To me, you are a small existence which never mattered, Chikushodo Pain said as the smoke cleared to reveal a giant chameleon with one renegade eye, the other eye bandaged, and giant black piercing rods protruding from its body. His statement caused Jiraiya to laugh as he jumped towards Chikushodo Pain. Kuchi Yose no Jutsu, Jiraiya called out as his form was covered in a large veil of smoke. A kid treated me like a kid. Well, I'm no longer human either. These tears of blood overflowing with rage. I went from the sun into sage, the monstrous toad of Mount Miyaboku, Jiraiya exclaimed, striking a pose. I am Master Jiraiya, he started, only to fall over as Gamaken, the giant toad he summoned, stood up, making his fall look very comical. You haven't matured at all. You're just as clumsy as before, Chikushodo Pain pointed out. Hey, Gamaken-san, don't jostle around during my juncture, Jiraiya complained, the smoke clearing to reveal a large dark red toad with black markings near a black kimono and fishnet shirt, wielding a circular shield and a sasumata. I'm kind of clumsy, Gamaken said. Against this foe, there shall be no playing by ear. I'm coming at you with full force, Jiraiya exclaimed, biting down on his hand strong enough to draw blood, made two curved lines from his eyes to the side of his face, and clamped his hands together. Chikushodo Pain jumped onto the chameleon summon's tongue. I'm using the honored sage mode, Jiraiya proclaimed. What, you don't mean? Gamaken quickly exclaimed. Yes, indeed, I'm summoning the two great sages, Jiraiya said. However, it's going to take some time to summon the two of them, and I cannot release my hands during that time. I'm counting on you. Buy me some time until then. Alright, clumsy as I am, I shall try, Gamaken said. Seconds later, the chameleon summon activated its camouflage and disappeared. He vanished. What a bother. Where in the world did he find such a creature? Jiraiya asked. Now that he's made himself invisible, we've got to use a barrier battle arts. He's a hard one to battle, Gamakin said. Jumping up, Jiraiya tapped twice with his geta and wiped his hair in a circular motion, causing a light green sphere of light to expand from his body. Chikushoto Pain looked down at Jiraiya from his hiding spot, taking notice of the barrier Jiraiya was forming. As I recall, this is a barrier ninjutsu that senses and alerts any intrusion across its boundary, Chikushoto Pain said. In that case, looking around for his target, Jiraiya heard the sound of a poof of smoke. Looking above him, he noticed a three-headed dog-like creature charging at him. He saw the barrier and switched to a strong offensive critter. Jiraiya exclaimed, Gamakin-san, right, clumsy as I am, here we go, Gamakin said, holstering his shield onto his back and leaping at the three-headed summoning beast. Gamakin leaped closer and closer to the three-headed summon, thrusting his Sasumate at the creature, effectively pinning it to the nearby wall, the creature struggling against this restraint. You're quite skilled, Jiraiya said to Gamakin. Not at all. I am clumsy, Gamakin replied. Suddenly, the three-headed beast split into three different beasts, each with one head, leaving one to be pinned by Gamakin's Sasumata, while the other two charged at the giant toad. The one pinned by the Sasumata became small enough to escape its trapped state, reversing its head so that instead of being on its back, it was laying flat on its stomach, and then split into two other beasts. What is this? Jiraiya exclaimed, shocked at seeing the three-headed beast he was fighting split into three smaller beasts. His shock was short-lived as Gamakin had to jump out of the way of one of the beasts. Leaping from his spot, Gamakin reached for his Sasumata. He was able to grab the weapon to defend himself, but was injured in the process by one of the strange summoning beasts. Gamakin jumped away once more to dodge and attempted to attack from one of the beasts, but was assaulted once more by three of those beasts after landing, the shield on his back taking most of the attack. Leaping away once more, Gamakin threw the shield off his back and wrapped around a length of pipes, leaving him dangling for a second before pushing himself onto a nearby wall, pulling his shield back from where it was dangling. Gamakin defended himself from the onslaught of summoning beasts just in time. Suddenly, four of the beasts merged together, creating a four-headed version of the summoning beast that lunged at Gamakin, thrusting his Sasumata at the beast. The strange beast was split back into four as an explosion of smoke ensued. Gamakin jumped out of the explosion. Four of the beasts followed soon after. Gamakin soon attacked the four beasts individually, each dispelling in a poof of smoke. The duo of man and toad soon escaped their assaulters, destroying parts of the areas around them in the process. Are you okay, Gamakin-san? Jiraiya asked. You think you could do this a bit smoother? But I am clumsy, Gamakin said as he slowly lost his grip on the pipes that he was holding onto. They seem to multiply each time you clobber them. I don't even have a clue what it is, Jiraiya stated, part of the smoke clearing to reveal the strange summoning beast only with 10 heads. Other doggies bound to a self-replicated Kuchi-Yose no Jutsu. In any case, we'd better move from the spot. We'll kill one dog at a time. Let's lure them into a small space. Right, Gamakin said as the pipe he was holding on to fell. Jiraiya noticing the outline of a giant chameleon. After his feet met the nearby wall, Gamakin jumped from his location as the 10-headed beast split off one of its head and went after the giant toad. So that's the center of the jutsu, Chikushoto Pain's thought. Were we able to lose it? Jiraiya asked. That should buy us some time, he stated seconds after finishing the statement. One of the single-headed beasts lunged at Gamakin, the giant toad narrowly dodging the attack. Or not. Gamakin turned to face the summoning beast, the 9-headed beast soon joining it. We're surrounded already, Jiraiya exclaimed. Incoming, and they're going to split up again. The single-headed dog-like summoned beast charged at Gamakin. The 9-headed beast jumped up and split into 9 as they lunged at Gamakin as well. Said giant toad twirled his Sasumata, effectively blocking the incoming dog-like beast. Above you, Jiraiya yelled, noticing one of the summoning beasts attack from behind Gamakin. The giant toad jumped from his previous location, the 10 summoning beasts giving chase. Team Ruby's dormitory. A sigh escaped Ruby's lips as she worked on her homework, her thoughts preoccupied by a certain blonde-haired fox faunus, specifically the event that happened before Naruto and the rest of Team Archfiend were forced into hiding. What's got you so down, sis? Yang asked. Nothing, Ruby shortly replied. She's right, something's definitely bothering you. You weren't as peppy as usual, Weiss commented, noticing the usual cheerful girl's lack of, well, cheerfulness. Thinking about a certain fox blonde, Yang teased. Ruby's face turned red in embarrassment. No, she quickly denied, the quiet but noticeable sound of giggling from the girl's sister being the response. Something happened between you two. The blush on your face when I mentioned Naruto is a deeper shade than the usual, Yang stated, having analyzed her sister's expression. No, this tells me something happened between you and Naruto before he left. Something romantic, she continued, Ruri beginning to sweat slightly at this tactical side of her sister, whilst Weiss and Blake could only stare at the female blonde in surprise at her analysis of the situation. You two kissed? Yang exclaimed, a grin plastered on her face as Ruby's blush became an even deeper shade. How did you find out? Ruby stuttered out. You left your diary unlocked yesterday and I sort of read it, Yang said, holding her sister's diary in her hands with a sheepish look on her face, causing the three occupants of the room to face fault. Yang! Ruby exclaimed quickly, snatching the item from her sister's hands. I'm not actually surprised. What with the way you two interacted, Blake commented. Yeah, the night Naruto left, I kissed him and made him promise to come back, Ruby shyly admitted. Cheek or lips? Yang asked. Lips, Ruby replied. Tongue? Yang inquired, causing Ruby's face to begin to emit a faint red glow from embarrassment. No, Ruby quickly replied, causing her three teammates to giggle. Yang because her sister was so easy to tease, and Blake and Weiss because of the blonde girl's question. So, when do you think they'll be back? Ruby asked, trying to change the subject, her super blush having leveled out with a small blush. I don't know. Hopefully soon, though, Yang said. It will be, Weiss replied. After all, they'll have to be present for the upcoming Vital Festival. Amigakure. Gamakin slumped to the ground in exhaustion, having momentarily escaped the onslaught of those strange dog-like summoning beasts. There's no end to this, Jiraiya stated. I am trying my best, Gamakin said. If they keep dividing, no matter how hard we strike them, it's a waste of our energy, Jiraiya exclaimed. Suddenly, the sound of growling was heard to his left. Turning to the source of the sound, Jiraiya saw the dog-like summoning beast that was pursuing them split into 10 single-headed beasts. Here already? Damn persistent dogs, Jiraiya said. The giant dogs lunged at Gamakin, but before they could reach the giant toad, Jiraiya jumped to defend the giant toad using his hair and feet to strike the dogs. Stupid little... he yelled. Are you alright? Jiraiya asked, but got his answer as he saw Gamakin being bit in various places by 5 of the dog-like summons. The giant toad knocked one of the dogs off of him, only for that same summoning beast to pull away his Sasumata. Gamakin-san, Jiraiya exclaimed. I really am clumsy, Gamakin said before collapsing on the ground. Various cuts and bruises scattered along his body. Jiraiya jumped onto Gamakin's head as he released his hands. If you can't move, Gamakin, then there's no time to summon the 2 great sages. I give up, Jiraiya said nonchalantly, but I'm amazed there's so many of them, he stated before laughing, his facial expression being replaced with by his usual self-proclaimed arrogance face. But against the great toad of Mount Byaboku, you're all nothing but a small snack, he proclaimed, throwing his hand down as a summoning seal appeared, as all 10 of the dog-like summons were digested by a room of toad guts, causing them to dispel. Seeing as his summoning beast was dispelled, Chikushodo Pain and the chameleon summoning beast appeared, gone, along with the dogs, so he's escaped for now, Chikushodo Pain said. I haven't escaped, Nagato, you're still naive, leaving your back open for an attack, Jiraiya exclaimed, Gamakin thrusting his Sasumata forward, catching the chameleon in the fork part before dispelling in a puff of smoke. You're a Kagebunshin, too? Jiraiya questioned. Yes, but that's not all, Chikushodo Pain said. At the same time, Kuchiyose no Jutsu, he exclaimed, summoning a giant bird with a drill-like beak. Damn it, Jiraiya yelled as the giant bird came closer and closer. It's no good, Jiraiya thought before Gamakin was pushed back as the drill-like beak impacted against Gamakin's shield. Gamakin-san, he yelled, having jumped off the giant toad before the impact against the ground. Jiraiya began to comically run as the drill beak bird chased after him, laying a bunch of eggs in the process as the bird pulled up. What? Jiraiya said, seeing as how the bird didn't smash against him, instead laying a bunch of weird eggs and pulling away from the super pervert. The eggs began to emit a strange glow before exploding as Jiraiya narrowly dodged each explosion. Whoa! He exclaimed as the egg nearest to his body exploded, sending him to the ceiling as he struck to it via chakra. Exiting the tunnel he was in, Jiraiya headed up as the bird flew after him, laying more explosive eggs in the process. Yes! Jiraiya exclaimed as he saw a nearby usable escape route. Climbing through the small tunnel, Jiraiya was able to escape the giant bird as it could not fit. After 3 or so attempts at pursuing the super pervert, the giant bird flew off to meet the man at the other side of the tunnel. You're relieved from duty, Jiraiya said, having reached the other end of the tunnel to find the giant bird blocking his path. The Jiraiya in front of the bird dispelled in a puff of smoke, revealing it was a Kagebunshin. The real Jiraiya took a deep breath before shooting a ball of fire at the giant bird, effectively making the giant summoning the beast dispel. I did it, Jiraiya exclaimed before noticing a giant seal ray spread over the wall behind him. Huh, was all he could say before the wall exploded, revealing a giant rhino when the smoke cleared. It's one thing after another, but I'm almost there, Jiraiya said. Jiraiya thought. So, I can't quit now, but incoming! Finishing his mental ranting, the giant rhino started to move away from Jiraiya. After getting some distance between the man and the giant rhino, said summoning beast turned around and charged at Jiraiya. Well, so fast, Jiraiya exclaimed before the giant rhino could slam against the super pervert. Gamakin appeared using his Sasumata to smash the rhino's head into the ground. Sorry I'm late, Jiraiya said, the giant rhino dispelling itself after the super pervert finished his sentence, causing Gamakin to fall down onto the floor. This Jiraiya dispelled, revealing it to be yet another Kagebunshin. Good work, the original Jiraiya said, Gamakin, having hit the floor hard, lie down on his back, panting in exhaustion. I want to attack the caster, but I need to be able to see him, Jiraiya said. Don't you think something is strange, Gamakin-san? I am too clumsy to understand what you mean, Gamakin said. He who possessed the same pupils as the Rokudon Sennin not only mastered every jutsu I taught him, he demonstrated the ability to achieve all 6 changes in chakra nature. For a single person to do so is unheard of. He was well versed in all the mainstream ninjutsu and mastered them by the time he was 10 years old, Jiraiya stated. But why? Why is he only using the Kujiyose no Jutsu against me? He thought, a bull-like summoning beast appearing in front of him. Does he think I am beneath the need for direct confrontation? Jiraiya mentally questioned. Seconds later, the giant bull charged at Jiraiya. Gamakin, you've done enough. I've got it from here. Go home, Jiraiya yelled. Alright, thanks, Gamakin said before dispelling in a poof of smoke. Mount Miyaboku. Naruto was meditating, having progressed quite a bit in his senjutsu training. Suddenly, the sound of a poof of smoke broke his concentration. Looking up, the blonde fox fauna saw a giant red toad appear with multiple cuts and bruises on his body. Gamakin, where have you been? Pa exclaimed, seeing the injuries the giant toad sustained. Jiraiya summoned me to aid in his fight against this guy named Pain, Gamakin said. Suddenly, both Ma and Pa felt a tug in their chakra. It seems we're being summoned, Ma said. Jiraiya was gathering up chakra to summon both of you before I left, Gamakin stated. So he's going to do that, Pa vaguely said. Moments later, the couple disappeared in a poof of smoke. Amagakure. After sending Gamakin back to Mount Miyaboku, the giant bull slammed against Jiraiya before slamming the super pervert into a nearby wall. Seconds later, an explosion sent the giant bull flying before being dispelled in midair. Lad, why do you always summon us in such touchy situations like this? Ma yelled. It's no wonder Bunta gets so mad. Ah, come on, Ma. Naturally, Jiraiya boy has his reasons, Pa said. You be quiet, Pa, Ma yelled. It's been a while, and I do apologize for calling you under these circumstances, boss, Ma, ma'am, Jiraiya said. But lad, I thought you said you hated that form, saying that it would make you unpopular with the ladies, Pa stated. I can't afford to be particular right now. After all, my foe has the Rinnegan, Jiraiya said. The Rinnegan, Ma questioned in shock. Someone actually possesses such an eye? Well then, you had no choice, Pa said. You gotta start being able to go into sage mode by yourself, Jiraiya boy. Compared to you, I'm still a novice, Jiraiya said. So please lend me your aid for just a little while. Shall we begin? He asked. Jumping out of the hole, the giant bull pushed him in. He went though all that just to summon those 2 toads. Jikushoto Pain mentally questioned. No, there's a transformation going on in Sensei himself. Whether it's Orochimaru or Jiraiya, the Sannin each have unique powers. And where is the one with the Rinnegan? Pa asked. Your eyes must be deranged with age, Ma said. No, he's hiding himself inside a summoning creature that can make itself invisible, Jiraiya stated. It's got to be one of them chameleon species, Ma stated. I have erected a probe barrier, Jiraiya said. That won't do any good. Let's drag them out using the Baku. Ma exclaimed as she formed a hand sign. Ma, don't get so excited. You'll get wrinkles, Pa said. Just hush up, Pa, Ma said. But why go so far as to summon us to fight this fellow, Jiraiya boy? Pa asked. He happens to be a former student of mine, Jiraiya exclaimed. We never knew you had one. Then is he? Pa asked. Yes, Jiraiya said, remembering the prophecy the great Lord Elder Toad Gamamaru spoke of, the child of prophecy. Then why are you fighting him? Ma asked. It seems he did not grow up in the right direction, and when I heard he had died, I thought he couldn't have been the one, Jiraiya answered. In any case, if he is not righteous, you must kill him, Pa said. Well, that senile old man probably made up that prophecy. Don't worry about it, Ma said. All right, let's do it, she exclaimed as she used the Shisen Baku. Found him, she said after a few seconds before the tongue was sent off to its intended target. It's fast, Chikushodo Pain exclaimed quietly, seeing the Shisen Baku. Gotcha, Ma exclaimed as her tongue wrapped around the giant chameleon and coated it in a yellow liquid. There we go, she said as she slammed the beast into the ground. Pa, I'm on it, Pa said as a torrent of water shot out of his mouth and sliced the giant chameleon in half, causing it to dispel. That's the Rinnegan. It certainly looks like the one mentioned in the legend, Ma said, the smoke clearing to reveal the Chikushoto Pain standing where the giant chameleon was. What nasty eyes. I can't believe he's that child of prophecy, Pa said. Great Lord Elder, I wonder if this is that moment of selection, Jiraiya thought. Kuchiyose no Jutsu, Chikushoto Pain said as two more people with similar Akatsuki cloaks, orange hair color, and Rinnegan eyes appeared. This time he summoned humans, Jiraiya thought. You turned out to be a harbinger of destruction, so as your mentor it is my duty to take you down, he exclaimed. 3 of them? What's going on? How could there be 3 Rennegans? He thought. It must be his jutsu. There's some trick to it. Just when I was busy preparing dinner, Ma complained. Ma, never mind that. Just focus on the opponent before us, Pa said. What did you say? Ma yelled. I guess it's about time I made my move, Jiraiya exclaimed before starting his usual dance. From this moment on, let the senjutsu prevail. Look above, upon the halos and the heavenly canopies. Jiraiya the gallant, he started, but was cut off by 2 small fists to the face. Quit yatting in my ears, so both Ma and Pa yelled at the same time. Jiraiya groaned out. My posturing keeps getting interrupted today, he thought. Let's end this quickly and go home, Ma said. I have to get dinner ready. Ma, that guy's eye is more important than dinner. Stay alert. It's the ultimate dojutsu, Pa yelled. Like I care. Don't you dare belittle a housewife's dilemma of what to cook every day, you old geezer, Ma yelled back. How dare you use such a tongue against me? I was just looking after you, Pa countered. Don't give me that, Ma yelled. Before long, the couple was arguing with Jiraiya, unfortunately stuck in the middle. How dare you use such a tone against me? I was just looking after you, Paul countered. Don't give me that, Ma yelled. Before long, the couple was arguing with Jiraiya, unfortunately stuck in the middle. Who are the ones yakking into whose ears again? Jiraiya thought with a deadpan look on his face. Before the couple could argue any further, Ningendo Pain launched at Jiraiya, but was knocked back by Jiraiya's foot. Not bad, Chikushoto Pain said. Now then, can we put your spousal differences aside and get this here over with? Jiraiya said. Huh, guess I'll just fry up something, Ma complained before forming hand signs. Boy, you provide the oil, Pa, you provide the futon. Yes, ma'am, Jiraiya said, all 3 of them taking a sharp inhale. Senpo Goemon, he called out. The collaboration jutsu was absorbed by Gaikodon. Pain's Funjutsu Kijin. Did it work? Ma asked. The smoke cleared to reveal that the 3 Rinnegan wielders still remained uninjured. The oil vanished, Jiraiya said in shock. That ought to have been based by it, Ma said. That one probably has tricks up his sleeve too, Pa said. Jiraiya kicked off his footwear, leaving him barefoot as his body transformed into a more toad-like body. Shall we find out with a close combat? Jiraiya asked. Yes, Pa replied. As soon as Pa finished his sentence, Jiraiya lunged at the Pains, forming a Rasengan in his hands. Chudoma Rasengan, Jiraiya exclaimed. The jutsu was unfortunately absorbed by Gaikido. Pain's Funjutsu by Kaihido Pain's Fuinjutsu Kijin. He can absorb an entire jutsu, so that's what he did earlier. He thought before he could continue his train of thought. Ningendo Pain jumped at him. Behind us, Ma yelled, Pa throwing a smoke bomb in response, effectively blinding Ningendo Pain. We got his back, Jiraiya thought as he threw a punch at Ningendo Pain, who shockingly caught his punch. What? He blocked my Sage Mode attack without looking, he mentally exclaimed as he quickly substituted himself with a toad. Senpo Kebari Senbon, Jiraiya exclaimed, hair needles shooting at Chiku Shoto Pain, but was blocked by a panda summoning beast. Jiraiya leapt back, seeing his surprise attack failed. Not a single wasted movement. I would have gotten him if he dodged it. Instead, he blocked it by summoning without ever turning around. What's going on? Blocking my attacks not just once, but twice, with no verbal signals or eye contact between them at all. Even if all three were sensory types, they still have to see an attack coming in order to counter it. Kebari Senbon is my fastest jutsu with the widest attack range. The only way to defend oneself against it is with a shield, as he just did, and he did it without looking. They're no ordinary clones. You said they have a trick up their sleeves, and you're right, Pa said. Ma questioned. Have you noticed? Pa asked. What is it? Jiraiya asked. When we got their back earlier, you picked the target and attacked from his blind spot, correct? During that time, one of the other guys was watching us the whole time, Pa exclaimed. I noticed that too, but there were no signs that they were signaling each other, either verbally or with eye contact, Jiraiya pointed out. That's it. It's their eyes. All three have the same eyes, Pa said. Suppose the three of them can share what they see with each other, enabling their eyes to share images with one another. Jiraiya finished. Is that it? Yes, that's what I suspect. Still, what incarnation are they? Pa asked, the three pains producing black rods in their right hands. This is bad. Under these circumstances where my ninjutsu are being nullified, to face all three at once is a bit too much. At this rate, if I enter battle, I'd be killed. Even in Sage Mode, I never imagined they would be this strong, Jiraiya thought. Fall back for now, Jiraiya boy, Pa said. Yes, sir, Jiraiya replied, disappeared in a poof of smoke. He's escaped to the pipes, Chikushoto Pain said. Why are we running away? Ma asked. We must analyze the 6 paths and come up with a strategy, and we'll need some time for that, Pa replied. They may look different, but all possess the same eye. In short, they all have the Rinnegan of 6 paths. Even if one of them is Nagato, I can't believe there would be so many Rinnegan users crawling around, Jiraiya said. So what in the world's going on? Which one is the real pain? Figuring out the main one isn't the problem. The real problem is the fact that 3 of them possess the Rinnegan of 6 paths, Pa stated. Just who and what is pain? Jiraiya asked. We don't know that yet, but we can make a small deduction. Their vision is linked, and they share images. That's the ability those eyes hold, Pa said. Which means what then? And how is it an advantage? Ma asked. Put simply, in the same way that 3 security cameras show different angles of the same image, those 3 are able to see 3 views at one time. So, if just one of them can see the target, the other 2 can counter with the ideal attack with perfect timing without having to see their foe. Pa said, in other words, their field of vision is 3 times better, and unlike the Byakugan, you can always guard each other's blind spots without weaving signs or manipulating chakra. No wonder their combination is invincible, Ma stated, which means we have to split them up and fight each other separately. I'm positive I can win one-on-one, since they possess such eyes. Fighting as a team would have to be their basic mode of attack, Jiraiya said. Taijutsu isn't going to work, and any ninjutsu will just be absorbed. If taijutsu and ninjutsu won't work, then it'll have to be genjutsu, Pa said. Yes, Ma agreed. But I'm a dud when it comes to genjutsu, Jiraiya stated. But as I recall, you two were. Yes, if they're former students of yours, Jiraiya boy, they know that you don't use genjutsu, so that might give us an opening, Pa said. No way, I'm not doing it, Ma yelled. What is it? World peace is hanging on this battle, Ma. This is no time to be selfish, Pa yelled back. I don't care about the no old geezers senile prophecies, Ma yelled back. The great Lord Elder told us to get along, remember? Pa yelled. What is it that you object to so much? Jiraiya asked. I can't sing a duet with Pa at this plump, ripe old age, Ma said, embarrassed. It's embarrassing. A duet? Jiraiya questioned. Our most powerful genjutsu involves appealing to the auditory senses of the victim through song, Pa exclaimed. Auditory senses? I see. That's why we retreated, Jiraiya said. Correct. This genjutsu is powerful, but as soon as we make a sound, our whereabouts will be revealed, which is its weakness, Pa stated. Also, there's the harmony of the sounds. In other words, the genjutsu is placed with a melody. It requires a little time before it takes effect. If they discover our whereabouts before they are caught in the genjutsu and attack, we will surely lose. However, once they are caught in the genjutsu, our victory will be assured. The Elder Toad finished. The trio happening upon a fork in the tunnel. What's wrong? Pa asked, seeing Jiraiya's movement momentarily halted. If both your lives are ever in danger, I want you to free yourself from my shoulders immediately, Jiraiya said. Huh, absolutely not, Pa exclaimed. The fate of the ninja would depend on this battle. I have a plan, although it is a gamble as well, Jiraiya stated. Do tell, Pa began. Please begin, Jiraiya said, having explained his plan to the other Elder Toads. Right, both Ma and Pa replied at the same time, beginning the Majin Gamma Rincho, causing the three pains to stop in the tracks. What is this? Chikushoto Pain asked. This is the croaking of frogs. Is this a genjutsu? He asked after noticing the direction the sound came from. It's coming from in there, he said as the trio went in pursuit. After finding Jiraiya in front of them, Ma and Pa casting the genjutsu. Gaikido Pain noticed the real Jiraiya hiding behind them. Akakebunshin, Gaikido Pain thought in surprise. Katan Dai Endon, Jiraiya exclaimed as he shot out a giant fireball. Like last time though, Gaikido Pain's Funjutsu Kyujin absorbed the attack. So that's your move, Gaikido Pain thought. Good, my gamble's a success, Jiraiya thought. That big one went after the jutsu to absorb it. The first fellow only used summoning, while both times it was the big fellow who absorbed my jutsu. Just as I suspected, each of them possesses only a single type of ability. Tight now, the big fellow's eyes are focusing on the jutsu. One I blinded earlier, so only one of them is looking at me. This one too, he mentally finished, firing off a fireball at the two approaching pains, both of which dodged the attack. Gotcha, he thought, Ninjato Pain having been caught in a wall of fire. The dark swamp, Chikushoto Pain thought before the effects of the Magen Gamma Rincho began to take a toll on him. Just a little more, Pa thought. Now we're really one-on-one, Jiraiya said as he kicked Chikushoto Pain in the chest. I'm not letting you summon, he exclaimed, all three pains finally being trapped in the genjutsu. You got us, Chikushoto Pain said. You are inside a genjutsu paralysis that binds your psyche. Now none of your bodies, including your main body, will be able to move, Jiraiya said. Jiraiya-sensei, I didn't expect a genjutsu like this from you, Chikushoto Pain stated. I thought I taught you never to let your guard down, no matter who your opponent is, Nagato, Jiraiya said. You erred in your decision. Rather than rule the world through pain, I wish you had moved past the pain and harnessed your power to bring about peace in a positive way. For just a little while, I believed you were the one. Farewell, he said after finishing his sentence. Jiraiya stabbed a stone sword through Chikushoto Pain, killing the student he once knew, doing the same to the two other pains. It's done, Jiraiya said, both Ma and Pa coughing shortly after. Are you both alright? This genjutsu is hard on the throat, Pa exclaimed. It's real hard keeping tempo with Pa. This jutsu ain't that easy at all, Ma exclaimed as Jiraiya started walking away from the dead pains. Damages the throat, stretches the lower jaw till it sags, creates wrinkles. My profound apologies. Please take your rest now, for I've made my selection, Jiraiya said before sharply gasping. Didn't you teach me to never let down your guard, Jiraiya-sensei? A new voice asked. Turning around, Jiraiya saw Shurato Pain standing behind him. Not a second later, Jiraiya was sent flying from an explosion. Lad, your left arm, Ma exclaimed, seeing Jiraiya was now missing his left arm. I'm aware of that, Jiraiya said. What's going on? Pa asked. This one's got a different face than the other three. He was probably summoned earlier, Jiraiya stated. I see. Before they got caught in our genjutsu, Pa said. Now then, another voice. Jikokudo, Pain said, six fingers jumping out of the tunnel, landing to face Jiraiya. In attendance, the Pain Rikudo, a second voice. Tendo Pain proclaimed. 6. There are 6 of them, Pa asked in shock. Hey, look close. The 3 we just did in are there too, Ma exclaimed. The newly summoned ones must have resurrected them with some sort of jutsu, Pa said. There's even a jutsu that can revive as many as 3 of them when they were undoubtedly dead. Are they really human? Ma asked. Pain. What are you? Jiraiya mumbled. Pain. That name is an alias that denotes all 6 of us, Tendo Pain said. Why are there 6 Renegon bearers? Jiraiya asked before his eyes widened in shock. Your Hokage Tower, Konohagakure. There's no end to this awful rain, Tsunade said, observing the rain falling non-stop as she thought back on her last conversation with Jiraiya. I'm sure Jiraiya-sama is fine. He of all people wouldn't. Shizune started. He's not coming back, Tsunade said. Huh? Shizune asked. That's what I bet him, Tsunade answered, turning to her apprentice, a smile on her face. And I never win my bets. Oh, I see, Shizune said before walking away, closing the door behind her. What a poser, Tsunade mumbled as she thought about the super pervert. When he gets back, I won't let him keep his cool. Amigakure, that face. Is that you, Yahiko? Jiraiya thought in shock. What's going on? I thought you said Yahiko died, he asked. Plus those eyes. You see Yahiko's image in me? You really are his former teacher, Tendo Pain said. But Yahiko has been dead for quite some time. All that remains is pain. Quit it with the wordplay. Why do you possess the Rinnegan? Jiraiya questioned. What are you talking about, Jiraiya boy? Pa asked. One of my former students is among them, except he didn't used to possess those eyes, Jiraiya exclaimed. What incarnations is going on? Ma asked. You saying there are 2 children of prophecy? No, that's not it either. When I saw the Rinnegan, I convinced myself that the first one was Nagato, but he's subtly different from the Nagato I knew of, Jiraiya thought. Come to think of it, upon closer inspection, none of those 6 remind me of Nagato. On the other hand, one of them resembles Yahiko, but possesses Nagato's Rinnegan. Are you Yahiko or Nagato? He mentally asked himself. Just what exactly are you? We are Pain. We are God, Tendo Pain said. After finishing his statement, all 6 Pains leapt at Jiraiya. Retreat, Jiraiya boy, Paul yelled. Jiraiya, or ignoring the Elder Toad, defended himself with a taijutsu from the incoming attacks. A god, Jiraiya thought as he threw a punch at Tendo Pain, said person catching the punch. Yahiko, how could you possess Nagato's eyes? Even if you knew that, you could not win, Tendo Pain stated as he threw his former sensei. Whilst Jiraiya was in midair, his Shurado Pain formed 8 small missiles from his hand that shot at Jiraiya, said Super Pervert, narrowly dodging the attacks. Lad, give it up already, Ma cried out. I must find an opening to defeat them, even if it kills me, Jiraiya said. Tendo Pain threw his hands out, causing part of the wall nearest to Jiraiya to shoot out at him to shoot out at his former sensei. Seconds later, the recently revived Jiku Shodo Pain was dragged underwater. The 5 other Pains just looked at the spot where their 6th member disappeared. I don't sense his presence, Tendo Pain said. Meanwhile, with Jiku Shodo Pain, said person found himself inside a stomach-like area. This is a barrier, Jiku Shodo Pain questioned. Seconds later, the platform he was on broke, causing him to jump away. Gastric fluid, he asked. An elongated tongue suddenly wrapped around a nearby pole as Jiraiya came out, a Rasengan in his right hand. Rasengan, he called out as said attack hit Jiku Shodo Pain, knocking him into the pool of gastric fluid below. You did it, Jiraiya boy, Paul called out, but was proven wrong as Jiku Shodo Pain jumped out of the gastric fluid, a black rod extending from his body that pierced through Jiraiya's remaining hand and his right shoulder before slumping over unmoving. Is he dead? Ma asked. I barely managed to kill one. Only after dragging it into my barrier, Jiraiya said before coughing up a small amount of blood. Are you alright, lad? Ma asked. Somewhat, he replied as he broke the black rod in between his shoulder and wrist. My body, my chakras agitated. Is it this? Pa asked, pulling out the black rod from Jiraiya's shoulder. Their identity is a mystery, and they seem to use odd weapons too. They're no longer mortals. There's something entirely different, Mom said, as Jiraiya got the rod stuck in his wrist out. That face, he is unmistakably Yahiko, and yet he possesses Nagato's Rinnegan. The Yahiko steal them from Nagato for some reason, but there are other Rinnegan bearers as well, so what's going on? Plus, Jiraiya thought, remembering a conversation he had with Nagato once. In which case, does that mean he is Nagato? He mumbled as Jiku Shodo Pain's slashed Ame headband fell to the ground, causing Jiraiya's eyes to widen in shock at seeing a scar on the forehead of the deceased body. That's right. Now remember, this one is definitely not Nagato. What's the matter? Pa asked. this fellow before us. I fought him before, Jiraiya said. He was a Fuma clan member. I encountered him right after setting out on my journey following the great Lord Elder's prophecy. I gave him that scar on his forehead. So what's a fellow like him doing here? Ma asked. Now I'm even more confused about this whole pain mystery. Pa said. It can't be. If this is the prophecy, Jiraiya thought. I wish to go back and face them in order to confirm something. You two please go back, he said. What? Ma exclaimed. Absolutely not. You will be killed if you go out again. They have more eyes, and they will not fall for the barrier trap twice. They're not on to us in here yet. This is our only chance to make a run for it, Pa exclaimed. I may be killed if I go out there, but I may be able to learn the truth about them, Jiraiya said. If I let this chance slip by, I don't think there's anyone else who could get as close to pain. This is our only chance to uncover the truth. Plus, this is time for selection that the great Lord Elder prophesied. Boss and ma'am, please take the intel on pain we've gathered so far, as well as this corpse, and go back. And please tell Tsunade. Ma should be enough for that, Pa said. But, Jiraiya said, just return by dinner time, Ma stated. Yep, when we're done here, I'll bring Jiraiya boy over with me. It has been a while since he's seen Naruto face to face, Pa stated, Ma nodding her head. Thank you, Jiraiya said. Seconds later, Ma disappeared in a puff of smoke. Mount Miyaboku. After Ma disappeared from Jiraiya's shoulder in a puff of smoke, she soon appeared at Mount Miyaboku. Ma, what's happening? Where did you disappear to? Naruto asked. Jiraiya summoned us to help him fight a former student of his, Ma answered. Wait, he had students before me? Naruto questioned. 4 in fact. 3 were war orphans that were rumored dead, but I'm not sure that's true considering who we've been fighting just before. And then your father, Naruto, Ma replied before her expression turned serious. Prepare a medical treatment area now. Jiraiya lost his left arm fighting this pain person and will need extensive medical treatment, she commanded. And get Tsunade here. Yes, ma'am, was the chorus of replies the toads gave. Kamikichi disappeared in a puff of smoke, most likely to get Tsunade, while the rest of the toads got a medical tent ready. Naruto boy, come here, Ma said. Naruto complying with the elder toad. I need you to lend me some of your chakra. I don't have enough to do the Gaiku Kuchi-Yose no Jutsu. Naruto could only nod his head as he gave his chakra to Ma as she prepared the Gyaku Kuchi-Yose no Jutsu. Amikakure. After Ma was sent back to Mount Miyaboku, the toad Jiraiya and Pa were currently in release them, swimming up to the surface. Pa summoned a Fuma Shuriken and threw it at Churado Pain. As Pain dodged the attack, the 5 remaining Pains began to surround Jiraiya. It's just as I thought, Jiraiya thought as he took a better look at the 5 Pains, each resembling a person he had encountered previously in his life. They're all ninjas that I have encountered before. That's it. I figured out who Pain is. Before he could continue his thoughts, 4 of the Pains lunged at him. The 5th, Shurada Pain, jumped from underneath him, damaging his throat. My throat, he thought in surprise. Jiraiya boy, Pa cried out. You were too late in figuring it out, Tendo Pain said, as he and the 3 other Pains stabbed black rods through Jiraiya's body. Before they could do any more damage, the man, along with Pa, disappeared in a puff of smoke. Konohagakure. Tsunade continued to stare out of the window in the Hokage Tower, watching the rain fall to the ground. Her fixation with the rain was shortly interrupted by the sound of a poof. Turning around, Tsunade saw one of the toads, Gamakichi, if she remembered correctly, standing in front of her. Gamakichi, what are you doing here? Tsunade asked. Jiraiya's been critically injured, according to Ma, so she sent me here to bring you to Mount Miyaboku to help with Jiraiya's injuries, Gamakichi quickly replied, causing Tsunade to gasp in shock. What's the extent of his injuries? She asked. I don't know. You'll have to ask Ma when we get there, Gamakichi said. All right, let's make this quick. Hold on to me, the toad ordered. Tsunade complied and held on to Gamakichi as the giant toad performed hand signs. Gyaku Kuchi-Yose no Jutsu, Gamakichi called out as a large puff of smoke enveloped the two. When the smoke cleared, both Gamakichi and Tsunade were gone. Mount Miyaboku. Gyakin Kuchi-Yose no Jutsu, Ma exclaimed as she summoned both Jiraiya and Pa with the help of Naruto's chakra. Oh dear, Kami, she cried out as she saw the injured form of Jiraiya, 5 black rods protruding from his back, blood seeped out of his mouth and throat, and his left arm was missing up to his elbow. I must let boss know. about Pain's true identity, Jiraiya thought. Hang in there, Jiraiya boy, Paul cried out, Jiraiya barely hearing the Elder Toad. Arrow sending, Naruto exclaimed in worry, seeing the state his mentor was in. Lifting him up, Naruto quickly rushed Jiraiya into the makeshift medical tent the Toad set up. Naruto, a feminine voice called out. Turning to the location of the sound, Naruto saw Tsunade standing next to Gamakichi. Bachan, you got to help, quickly, this way, Naruto yelled, motioning to the makeshift medical tent. Oh my Kami, what happened to Jiraiya? Tsunade exclaimed as she saw the state her teammate was in. He was fighting these people named Pain, 6 of them, and they all had the Rinnegan. Paul answered, causing Tsunade to momentarily pause. The blonde busty Hokage had heard the legend about the Rinnegan, but there was no proof of this Sojutsu existing, at least not before today, that is. It's no good. My throat has been cursed, Jiraiya thought. Damn it. At this rate, setting Jiraiya down on the medical table, Tsunade's hands were enveloped in a light green glow as she began to use her medical knowledge to save her last remaining living teammate. It's useless. I'm passing out, Jiraiya thought. Naruto, Pa, Ma, and Gamkichi at his side as Tsunade continued healing her teammate. Am I going to die? Have I failed? He mentally questioned himself. It's not how you live, but how you die in the shinobi world. A ninja's life is not measured by how they lived, but rather what they managed to accomplish before their death. Looking back, my life has been nothing but failures, continually rejected by Tsunade, unable to stop my friend, and unable to protect either my student or my mentor. Compared to the great deeds of the Hokage, my actions are trifling, insignificant things indeed. I wish I could have died like each of the Hokages. A tale is only good as its final turn of events. The plot twist, he thought. Failures must be seen as mere amusements. They are trials of which hone your skills. I lived believing that, and in return, I swore I would accomplish a deed so great that it would obliterate all of my failures, and I die a splendid ninja. At least that's how it was supposed to go, he mentally continued, but with my plot twist, my tale ending like this. The great Lord Elder prophesied that I would guide that revolutionary, a person who will make a great choice that will bring either stability or destruction to the shinobi world. I thought I could defeat Pain, stop the Akatsuki, and save the shinobi world from destruction, but in the end, I failed in that selection too. How pitiful that is! That this will be the twist to the tale of Jiraiya the Gallant. What a worthless story, he thought as Tsunade continued doing her best to save him, having pulled the last of the black rods out of his back and flipped him over so he was laying on his back. Flashback start. No, I don't think so. This tale is wonderful, a tall blonde-haired man said. This man was Minato Namikaze, Yellow Flash of Konoha. Each chapter reads like one of your numerous legendary exploits. It's almost like an autobiography, he said as Jiraiya sat down in the chair opposite to his student, the main character of this book. I thought his determination to never give up was real cool. He's a lot like you, Sensei. You think so? Jiraiya asked. So I was thinking, Minato started. Huh? Jiraiya questioned. I really hope my unborn child can become a ninja just like this main character, Minato said, which is why I'd like you permission to name my son after him. Hey, are you sure? It's just a random name that I thought up while eating ramen, Jiraiya said. Naruto, a feminine voice said. Heading into the dining room was Minato's wife, Kushina Uzumaki. She had red hair like most Uzumakis did, and her abdominal region was larger than normal, indicating that she was pregnant. It's a wonderful name, she said, nodding her head in approval. Kushina, Jiraiya said. Creepies, so that makes me his godfather. Are you really sure about this? He asked with a small chuckle. You are my sensei, and you are a great ninja who possesses the true talent of a ninja. There's no other like you, Minato said. Flashback end. Yes, that's right. I gave that child. Jiraiya thought. Naruto? Now that I think about it, Naruto, you are just like that novel main's character. You've inherited Minato and Kushina's wishes, their hopes, and yet I never go back on your word and never give up. Naruto, if that is your ninja way, then as your mentor, I have no business whining. He finished. Tsunade began to heal Jiraiya's throat injury, but was stopped by Jiraiya's right hand holding hers, the blonde Hokage getting tears in her eyes. For everyone knows that a student inherits his ninja way from his teacher. Isn't that so, Naruto? He thought as he tried to stand up. He fought his way back by sheer will. Pa thought. Jiraiya boy, the elder Toad cried out. Jiraiya gave Pa a look, causing the elder Toad to nod his head. Got it, he yelled, throwing off his cloak and put his back in front of Jiraiya. Jiraiya lifted his hand, his finger lighting up with blue chakra as he used the Shikoku Fuin on Pa's back. Never give up. That was the true choice I was supposed to make, Jiraiya thought as he began to carve a message on Pa's back, causing pain to the Elder Toad in the process. Alright, message received, Pa exclaimed, a hidden message carved on his back that read 931 8 106 7 207 15. A dying message? Naruto asked. He wrote it in code, Kamakichi pointed out. Naruto, you are the child of prophecy, I'm sure of it now. I entrust you with the rest, Jiraiya thought as he felt his life slip away from him, his vision becoming blurred as the cries of Jiraiya came around from those around him in concern became quieter and quieter. The tale of Jiraiya the Gallant. Now it'll end a bit better, I hope. The final chapter will be the frog in the well drifts into the great ocean, he thought before mentally laughing. Not bad at all. Now it's about time I put down my pen. Ah, that's right. What should I name the sequel? Let's see. The Tale of Naruto Uzumaki. Yeah, that has a nice ring to it. He mentally finished as he closed his eyes for the last time, a small smile on his face. Tsunade, Jiraiya, Gamakichi, Ma, Pa, and all the other toads present could only cry at the end of the Toad Sage, at the death of the Toad Sage. Preview start. Where am I? Naruto asked out loud. Did I die? By what means did you die? Your personal ethical point of view towards death differs greatly from someone as far from my own era, a mysterious voice boomed. For one to so easily comprehend and adjust to the word death, your mettle is quite impressive, newbie. Who are you? Naruto asked. My name is Hagoromo, and as he who founded Ninshu, I am also known as the Rokudo Sennin, he finished. You are my son, Ashura's. There was only one netherworld. This is unlike two people come along. You were very much the same, weren't you, Naruto? I figured this was what you meant, Naruto said, causing a small smirk to appear on the old sage's face. And you really do resemble Ashura with what you've done too, Hagoromo commented. With what I've done? Naruto questioned. Indra and Ashura walked very different paths, Hagoromo explained. Since birth, the older brother Indra had powerful eyes and a strong sense for battle. He was taught as a genius. He did everything with his own power and understood that his power was special and different from those around him. He also came to believe that with power, anything was possible. He stated, on the opposite side, you had the younger Ashura, who since childhood was bad at everything he did. He couldn't do anything by himself. To achieve the same strength as his brother, he needed huge amounts of his own effort, along with the cooperation of those around him. And soon, through the harsh training and the overlord blood that flowed through his veins awakened, I thought that his brother Indra would join in and cooperate, but Indra would not accept that, and that was the very moment that this long war began, he finished. When their bodies were destroyed, the chakra that they built up didn't disappear, but was reborn through the ages, time and time again. Yuck, that is like being possessed by a ghost or something, Jiraiya said. So, who's the unlucky guy being possessed by them now? You, Naruto, Hagoromo replied. Ashura was reborn into you? Well, shit, Naruto said after a minute of silence, taking in the new information. Seconds later, a mass of golden flames exploded next to him. Though the old sage didn't flinch, when the flames died down a bit, they took the form of a man as tall as Hagoromo. The figure had short, spiky hair, 2 locks of which were wrapped in bandages, framing either side of his face, and was wearing a blank forehead protector and kimono. This with Magatama around the collar held close by a sash. It's been a while, Tao-san, the figure said, small golden flames flickering off his form every couple of seconds. Indeed it has, Ashura, Hagoromo said. The now identified Ashura looked around a bit before staring at Naruto, who in turn stared back. And who is this? Ashura asked. I guess this is goodbye then, Tao-san? I'm pretty sure, although we should check just in case, Kurama said before turning to what was hopefully Naruto. Oi, Gaki, ramen is the worst food out there, he exclaimed, but was cut off before he could finish his exclamation. You dare to commit blasphemy against the holiest food there is? I shall smite thee in the name of ramen, Databayo, the man yelled with a comical expression of anger. Yep, that's definitely Naruto, Kurama deadpanned. Everyone excluding Naruto sweat dropped at the blonde's antics. Well then, Madara said as he and Obito stepped out of the portal, I suppose if you all died together, that would also be called teamwork, wouldn't it? End of chapter 12.